Those who have joined the class, they are requested to please write their names and numbers for the purpose of attendance. And we'll be starting your class in a minute. Okay, students. So yesterday what we have done is we were discussing about the determinants of consumption function, right? Okay, so if you people are settled, I'm asking you something. In our yesterday's lecture, we were talking about the determinants of consumption function. So do you want me to start from scratch or should I continue with the last 2 points? No reply again. You have to suggest what you want me to do. I'm a very instructor. It's you who have to decide that what you want from the subject. Do you want me to repeat the first 3 points or do you want me to continue? Explain in brief what? The first 3 points? Okay. Reply किया करो ना बच्चों. Until and unless you reply, this becomes a monologue for me. And monologue किसी को अच्छा लगता है? Just one person talking. Already I'm not able to see you on just able to see your names on the screen. And moreover, you guys don't even respond. Okay, so what we'll do is first of all we'll cover these 3 points. That is the change in wage level. So as per the consumption function, if there is a change in the wage level, the consumption function shifts. That is, if there is a rise, it will shift upwards. If there is a fall, it will shift downwards. The workers having propensity to higher propensity to consume will spend more with an increase in the income, and if there is a rise in wage rate and that is accompanied by an increase in price, then our consumption function won't change at all. अगर हमारी इनकम के साथ प्रोडक्ट की प्राइस भी चेंज होती है तो हमारा कंजम्पशन फंक्शन चेंज नहीं हो सकता. व्हाई? बिकॉज द बंडल our consumption bundle cannot change. We are paying higher for the same amount of goods. Whereas our C curve can change with the fall in a wage rate. If there is a decrease in the wage rate, then no matter what is happening with the price, the consumption function will go downwards. Then is windfall gains and losses. That is unexpected gains and losses in the stock market. Whenever there is unexpected gain in the stock market, then definitely the consumption function will move upwards, and the reverse will happen if there is a loss. Any sort of loss, unexpected contingency losses, they can affect the consumption function in a particular way. Then is change in fiscal policy. Now, changes in fiscal policy are in the form of taxation and public expenditure, etc. So, if your taxation is heavy, then definitely the consumption function will have to come down. Now, can we relate this fiscal policy and taxation to the circular flow of income? Can we do that? There is leakages when we are talking about taxation. So the amount which is given to whom? Firm by the household decreases because some amount is given to the government also. We can relate that, huh? Things can be related if you want. Now, whenever there is any sort of taxation or public expenditure, then the consumption function will be reduced or will move downwards. Why? Because the disposable income that a person has will be reduced. Now, they have given, we have discussed the example of Second World War when the taxation and rationing and price control, everything was coming. So, the consumption was reducing. At the same time, when there is welfare, when there is public expenditure made, then the consumption function will move. Then we'll talk about the change in expectations. See, expectation is something which can, without any change in income or expenditure, can move the consumption function in any direction that it desires. A change in future expectation can affect the propensity to consume. I'm expecting that there'll be flood this. I should not say such things. Suggest me something good because of the environment that we are staying right now. Nothing good comes to my mind. Can you suggest me a good scenario? Okay, chalo. You cannot suggest me. I'll suggest myself. I'm expecting that this condition of corona will be over by 15th of May. I'm considering 15th of May because there are many people who have just contracted it, so they'll take 15 days to recover. And in the process, someone else will like the change process will go on. So by 15th of May, everything will be fine. We'll be back to the condition that we started in January 2020. Not the same condition, but yes, physically and mentally the same condition. That now corona is gone, it is flushed out of the environment, and we'll say flushed out because we genuinely, how many of you want this particular, okay, vaccinated and everything is like very hyper ventilating terms, but I just want this disease to be flushed out of the environment. How many of you are with me? That somehow something happens and it just vanishes the way it came. How many of you are having this same feeling? Yes, like overnight it disappeared, and next day morning we woke up and everything was hale and hearty, back to normal. Okay, so I'll suggest that. Okay, so now what has happens that if our expectation changes, like we are expecting a major change in our future, then in that case, like we are expecting a war to break out, or we are expecting our income to increase in future, or we are expecting that the price of a particular good will go down, then there are chances that the consumption function will change. Why? Because if we are expecting something in the near future, then either we will hoard the durable and non-durable things, or non-durable, semi-durable things. Either we'll do that or we will not buy it all. Anything can be possible. If there is like price is likely to fall in future, then we'll not buy anything. If we are expecting that price might increase in future, or there might be a, if at all this pandemic give us pre-warning, if there'll be a pandemic in future or there'll be a war in future, then what we'll do is we'll hold the durable and semi-durable articles so that we are able to survive in the long term even if we are not able to go out. Generally, this hoarding is done when we are anticipating something bad. When we are anticipating something good, people don't do this. Like I'll give you a very good example. I'm in a very good mood today. Like, I'll give you a very good example over here. Uh, in the year of 2020, when everyone was fighting with Corona and no, and people were not sure that we'll come out of it or not, and we were neither were we sure that this disease will go away. But there was a ray of silver. There was a silver lining in this dark cloud. The people that are placed, like our mothers and grandmothers, they were busy doing what they do every year. Like they make this chips every year, they make pickle every year, they make mathari, they make mathia, they make this, what we say, papadi. This is something that we store as Indians. We make it at home and we store. So these things were still continuing. And that was like that these general regular things were giving us a feeling that nay, everything will be fine. We'll fight this off and we'll still be there. So a normal thing can also give you this feeling. That is a future. That was their future expectation. कि नहीं नहीं अगले साल तक तो everything will be fit and fine. Or if nothing is fit and fine, even then मसाला पापड़ and अचार तो यूज होता ही है. ये तो बना ही देते हैं. So their future expectation did not contradict the consumption function that we were having. But instead, if they were very finicky about their future, then they wouldn't have done that. In that case, the consumption function would have been affected. It would have gone down. Okay? This is like a very real life situation I'm telling you. They were the one who maintained this economy up to a certain level. Day-to-day usage articles also help us in maintaining the economics balance, which our mothers did in a very good way, thanks to them. Then is a change in the rate of interest. Now, if there is a substantial change in the market rate of interest, then that will also influence the consumption function, and that too in an indirect way. Like there are several ways in which the interest may affect the consumption function. The rise in the rate of interest will lead to the rise in the price of bonds, and if there's a rise in the price of bond, then the bond holder propensity to consume will be decreased because we'll have to use more money over there. And it may also affect the substituting type of assets. Like if there is a rise in the rate of interest of loan, then people will think twice before buying a car because cars are generally bought on loan for a middle class person. So it will have an effect on the usage of petrol also. अगर कार खरीदी नहीं तो पेट्रोल डलवाओगे किसमें पियोगे तो होने. That we went to the petrol pump, told the person हमें एक bottle petrol चाहिए. Why do you want a petrol? We want to drink because earlier we were planning to buy a car. Now we are not planning to. Now we are not able to buy a car because of the rate of interest. So we'll drink petrol. Will you do that? Is there anyone who will do this? कार गाड़ी नहीं खरीद पाए तो पेट्रोल लेके पी रहे हैं. नहीं ना. Okay, good. So the rise in interest rate can hamper your plan of buying something. So your propensity to consume will be lesser. And in case they are buying durable consumer goods like refrigerator, scooter on higher purchase, then they'll tend to postpone it till the this rate of interest is coming back to normal. Because if they are taking these things on higher purchase at in today's scenario, then they'll have to pay more interest on installments. That is what I told you. then this is shifting the consumption of every complementary article will also shift. अगर आप if you are not able to take a car right now, तो कार में accessories वाले वालों का business भी इफेक्ट होगा, टायर वालों का बिजनेस भी इफेक्ट होगा, कार accessories का बिजनेस भी अफेक्ट होगा, सीट कवर्स का बिजनेस भी इफेक्ट होगा. Petrol is something like it will be affected, but not that much. But all these businesses will definitely be affected up to a large extent. So that is how the propensity to consume is affected with the change in rate of interest. Is this understood by us? I'm seeing no. Okay. Krishna Sasdev has mentioned no, ये वो petrol नहीं पिएगा. And I just changed and saw no. मतलब है, they haven't understood. Okay, you have understood. Got it. Is there anyone who haven't mentioned their names and numbers? This yes, ma'am was for. Yes, Shubham. What happened? You want to say something? Shubham, हाथ ऊपर किया बेटा आपने. गलती से हो गया, कोई बात नहीं. Yes, my question stays. Is there anyone who's left out? If they are left out, then this is the time. Make an entry. Okay, with these are not the only objective or factors which can be enlisted. Beside these 5 factors, Keynes has also listed the changes in accounting practices with respect to depreciation. That is also something which affects the consumption function up to a large level. However, we can add some of the other objective factors listed by the followers also, and they are financial policies of corporations. Like at a point of time, the corporation has decided that now we'll be increasing the membership rate. Then the propensity to consume will decrease. Then the holding of liquid assets can also have a great impact on the propensity to consume, and at the same time, the consumption function. The distribution of income can affect a lot. Right now, what is happening with us that right now what is happening that the income which is distributed in our economy is not very properly and very effectively distributed. There is some amount of income is distributed among major chunk of income is distributed among some people, and the remaining amount is distributed among large number of people. So that can also affect the propensity to consume. Then the attitude towards saving. This is something which is very Indian in nature. Now, why am I saying this is something which is very Indian in nature? Because no matter what we are having today, we are always worried about tomorrow. No doubt, this is something which has worked wonders for us in the time of COVID-19. But this is an attitude of every Indian family. And when I say Indian family, I will include this attitude is in me also. As soon as we are having some money, what we do is we take two-third part, not two-third is like too much. We take like 2/5 part of the income and we try to save it. Save for what? Save for contingencies, save for future. Future of whom? Future, if you are a son in the, if you are an adult in the family and you're taking care of your people, like elderly people, then you'll save for them that कल को अगर उन्हें कुछ हो गया तो you'll save for that. If you are young, then you'll save for your own wishes that you might be having at the time of your studies. Then if you are a parent, you'll save for your kids. If you like, every age has their own reasons for saving. But this attitude of saving is everywhere. We are we are all interested in saving something or the other. Like if I take my own example, then I have a certain desire of buying certain things. At the same time, I also intend to make sure that after the age, after a point of time when I reach like 45 or so, I'm in a very stable condition. So I'm saving for all those things. But I'll fulfill my desires. I have to be stable also. Then I have to take care of my parents also. Like, assumption. So I need to save for all these things also. The attitude of saving also affects your propensity to consume because this is the amount which you are keeping aside and you're not using it all. When you're not using it at all, that by itself says that your propensity to consume has decreased to a major extent. Okay, with this, we'll move forward towards the properties or the technical attributes of consumption function. When we are talking about this technical attributes of consumption function, there are basically two major technical attributes. And those technical attributes are average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume. Now, what is an average and what is marginal? You tell me. All of you have studied statistics and economics. What is average and what is marginal? Just the definition of these two words, nothing else. Mhm. And what is average? Others can also give me a reply. Okay, Sharon has given me the definition, that is the sum total divided by the number of units. Yes. Mahi is also right. Then consume additional unit means marginal propensity. I'm not asking marginal propensity. I'm just asking what is the meaning of marginal usage and average usage. What is this? So average you have given me. I do not want marginal propensity to consume. Don't Google things. I'm just asking what is marginal. What does the word marginal mean to you? हर चीज गूगल कर करके चैट बॉक्स में लिख देते हो. Okay, yes. Marginal means basically plus 1 unit. And average is the average of total divided by number of people using it. Yes, marginal is additional. Exactly. कैसा सवाल है? तू उठा उठा के पता नहीं कहां से प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम ले आए. तो मैंने पूछा भी नहीं. Okay, so we are having average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume. So what is this? Now, average propensity to consume can be denoted with APC and is defined as the ratio of aggregate or total consumption to aggregate income in the given period of time. What is it? Basically, what you told me, that is total income divided by total consumption, but in a limited period of time. Just give me a second. Okay, now as we have seen that the average propensity to consume is defined by the ratio or aggregate or total consumption to the aggregate income in the given period. Now, if we are able to see this value of average propensity to consume for an income level, then that can be found by dividing consumption by income. Now, what is APC? The formula of, if we are checking the average propensity to consume in a symbolical way, then we can easily write that APC is equal to consumption divided by income, that is C divided by Y. C is standing for consumption, Y is standing for income. This just give me a moment. I'll just make this table right. Who's this who's coming right now? Kids, why are you putting up your attendance right now? Both of you and Shivani. And Manit also. Okay. Meet, Taha, Teerth, Arshit, Manit, Shivani. Teerth forgot to put the attendance previously. Okay. Aman, what happened? Haven't I told you people not to put your attendance? Haven't I told you people that you cannot place your attendance after 25 minutes of the class? Your class started at 1 5. 1:30 is maximum time. And if you want to do after that, then you'll have to take an exclusive permission. Could I mark these people absent? Bolo? Okay. No problem, Manat. What about others? This sorry is like you guys don't mean it. Please understood, you forgot it. That's okay. But this is happening again and again. You guys join the class late and now one person has given me this reason of medical emergency, so others will also give me the same. And it doesn't matter you people telling me that this won't happen again because this is already happening again. It's been it's now been an entire week that I've kept on yelling and shouting. Late mat entry karo. But you people are not ready to take it. So tell me which language you understand. I'll start speaking that. Rejoining is okay, but making an entry late is not okay. Okay, you were there in the class. Fine. Aman, then tell me which example did I quote while I was explaining you this changes in income, expectation of future. Quote the example. I'll give you the attendance for today. You were there in the class, huh? Quote the example. I gave you a very simple. I gave the class a very simple example that when everything was not going well, something was. We had an expectation in some way. Which way did we had an expectation that things will be fine? To quote the example, I'll give you attendance today because you people are not there in the class. And I even told in the class that today I'm sitting with a very good mood. So I was giving best possible examples to everyone. But these activities are senseless, useless. If you do not want to be in the class, don't be in the class. Accept it upfront that we do not want to attend the class. सिर्फ अटेंडेंस के लिए बाद में आने की क्या जरूरत है? And these online classes are for your own benefit, so that you can study even while you are at home. It doesn't seem like that you deserve that the people who are doing these activities deserve it. Fine, whatever it is. So in the table, we have calculated the average propensity to consume on various income levels, and it is obvious that the proportion of income spent on consumption will decrease as the income increases, because the average will always will obviously decrease as and when the income will increase. First, the average propensity to consume is 100%, then it is coming to 95, 92, 88, and it follows that the average propensity to save is respectively going the other way around. That is, if we are talking about average propensity to consume, then it is C by Y. If we are talking about average propensity to save, then it comes to 1 minus C by Y. That is, further you can calculate it in percentages also. So let's take the table. This table is still not fixing inside. Are you able to see the slide? Kids, are you able to see the slide? Okay, nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what we are doing over here is, here we have taken different income and different consumptions, and with the help of that, we have calculated this average propensity to consume and the marginal propensity to consume. So when we are talking about the income of 300, then the consumption is also same. So our average propensity to consume is coming as 1, or we can say 100%. Whereas here the marginal propensity to consume is nothing. They've mistakenly written 0.8, will be 0. Okay, then in the next level, we are having the income of 400 and the consumption is 380. So our average propensity to consume is coming up to what? करो, calculate करो. 380 divided by 400 will give you 0.95. What will be the marginal propensity to consume? That is delta C minus delta divided by delta Y. What is delta C? These answers are not right. You'll have to calculate by your own self. Tell me. For the first option, our income is 300 and the consumption is 300. So the average propensity to consume is coming 1 and the marginal is 0 because there's nothing before that. In the second option, we are having the income of 400 and the consumption of 380. So what will be our average propensity to consume? करो, calculate करो. 0.95, okay. And what will be the marginal propensity to consume? Marginal propensity is delta C divided by delta Y. Now, how will we calculate? 0.8 is correct. Okay, if you say so. So now everyone is saying so, we'll believe. Now the next one is saying 500 is income and 460 is consumption. So now here, what is your average propensity? So now we can consider that this table is standing right. So as and when the total income is increasing, so is the consumption increasing, but at the same time, we can say that they are not increasing in the same proportion. Hence, our average propensity to consume will keep on decreasing, whereas the marginal propensity to consume will remain stable. Okay. So the proportion of income saved increases as the income increases. Now I'll have to. Okay. So the economic significance of average propensity to consume is that it tells us what proportion of the total cost of the given output from planned employment may be expected to be recovered by selling the consumer goods alone. That is, what is the income which we can gain by selling only consumer goods. And it tells us that what proportion of the total amount of goods and services are demanded by the community are originating in the demand for consumer goods. That is, this average propensity to consume is just talking about consumer goods. That what is the total employment that we are getting from it, and at the same time, what is the total demand which is arising out of these consumer goods only. Moreover, the average propensity to save is telling us that what proportion of the total cost of the given output will have to be recovered from the sales of capital goods, because we are saving that amount, so we cannot use that for consumer goods. So that has to be recovered from the sale of capital goods. Other things remaining equal. That is, again, we are taking an assumption over here. The relative development of consumer goods and capital goods industry in the economy depends on average propensity to consume and average propensity to save, because if a person will save more, they'll take more of capital goods. If a person is having a lesser income, they'll take more of consumer goods. This suggests that in highly industrialized economies, the average propensity to consume is persistently low and the average propensity to save is persistently high, because they're having higher income. When we're having higher income, we have higher this lower average propensity to consume and higher average propensity to save. When we are having a higher average propensity to consume, we go for consumer goods, and when we are talking about higher average propensity to save, we go for capital goods. Are we clear with this? So now what is marginal propensity to consume? Basically, the marginal propensity to consume is the ratio of change in the level of aggregate consumption to the change in the level of aggregate income. That we already know. Delta C by delta Y, we have already done it. But the theory is here. So the marginal propensity to consume refers to the effect of additional income on consumption. That because of how much income how much more amount will be consumed. And this can be found by dividing the increase or decrease in income by the increase or decrease in, sorry, by the increase or decrease in consumption by the increase or decrease in income. That is, marginal propensity to consume is always equal to delta C by delta Y, where delta indicates the change, that is increase or decrease. See, wherever you are able to see the symbol of delta, na, it always symbolizes change only, nothing else. In the entire economics, it does not symbolize anything else, but it symbolizes change. Now, C in macroeconomics and microeconomics and managerial economics will always symbolize consumption, and Y will always symbolize income. If you think that I is equal to income, then no. Y is always equal to income. So in the table that we have already done, we have calculated the MPC at various income levels, and it is obvious that it was constant. Now, because the linear consumption function is non-linear, the marginal propensity to consume will remain constant. Okay, now again, the marginal propensity to consume is always positive, but is always less than 1. Now, this behavioral statistic of MPC is attributed by Keynes as the fundamental psychological law of consumption, that the consumption will always increase lesser as compared will always increase lesser in proportion as compared to the income. So, because people's main motivation is not spending the entire increase in their income, and they tend to save more because they have to create hedge funds, they have to get ready for unforeseen contingencies, special risks. So, our saved income is always a deferred consumption is always lesser than deferred income, which means that MPC, which is equal to delta C divided by delta Y, is always less than 1. Now, the theory is going on and on. So what I'll do in our tomorrow's lecture is I'll start with the marginal propensity to consume again, so that we can continue with a further lecture. Till now, if anyone is having any doubt, they're requested to please put up the question. If not so, and someone has mistakenly forgotten to write their names in the attendance, they can they can raise their hand, give me a reason, and write down the names. And I'll not be angry, don't worry. Is there anyone? No one. Fine, then if you're not having any doubt in today's session, then you can leave the class. Thank you for attending. I just told if anyone is left out to mark their attendance, then they're requested to please ask, raise their hand, tell me, and then mark. I'll be stopping the recording now to do whatever you want to do.